friends, how are you today? Welcome back to another true crime episode. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Faiza, and every week I talk about a true crime episode. I also do another series where I talk about horror films I've watched while I get on ready and do my skincare. So if you're interested, there's a few videos up right now. And let's get into today's case. So today's case really made me question my faith in humanity. This is because imagine being cared for. You're vulnerable and the government gives you a bit of money to help you with your day-to-day, and the people that's supposed to care for you and protect you decide to steal all your money and murder you, completely taking advantage of an individual with such high learning disabilities and needs. It's just like evil to the definition, you know? Let's talk about the murder of Margaret Fleming. So Margaret Fleming was born on November 1st, 1980 in Inverkip, Scotland. I do apologize if I said that wrong. However, Margaret's mother, Margaret Senior, her name is Margaret as well, so I'm going to call her Margaret Senior. She had a tough time raising Margaret, and the relationship wasn't that close. She had problems raising Margaret, it was too hard for her, and the relationship got very strained. And Margaret decided to go her separate way, and the couple divorced. Shortly after that, when they got divorced, Margaret would see her mother at least a few times a week, and it slowly became less and less. However, Margaret was very close with her father. However, he died in 1995 due to cancer. Based on the information I have read about this case, Margaret's father, he truly loved his daughter. And before he died, he signed some paperwork, and his two close friends called Edward and Avril, they were the sole carers for Margaret after, he passed on. He really wanted her to be safe and secure, and he didn't even trust his ex-wife to do that. So you can imagine the family dynamics here. So with that said, now Edward and Avril are in the picture. However, little did he know that this couple are so depraved. So in the late 1990s, Margaret is living with Edward and Avril. Things at the beginning seems to be okay. She's settling in well. They are being very kind, supportive. They're caring for her. They're meeting her needs. But before you know it, things took a dark turn. They started abusing her. They started berating her. They started neglecting her. They withheld food and drink. They would push her around. They would hit her head against the cupboard. And she had no way of defending herself. Margaret was scared. She didn't know what to do. Some sources say that she wasn't aware of the abuse, and some say she was. However, she wasn't in the position to protect herself. That's why they are there to protect her, but they chose not to. This abuse lasted many, many, many years. Margaret went missing for over 17 years, and hardly anybody noticed. This is because Edward and Avril had isolated her from family, friends. They were using Margaret's money to fund their own lifestyle while Margaret was suffering and her needs were not met. They just neglected her. So for the past 17 years, the couple stole around £182,000 of Margaret's disability benefits. For 17 years, nobody batted an eyelash. Nobody searched for Margaret. She was literally forgotten, wiped away from society like she didn't matter. And this is what infuriates me about this case, because Margaret was an only child and her mother didn't take care of her. She chose to not take any responsibility. And the only person that loved her on this planet was her father, and he died from cancer. This is truly the most upsetting case I have ever covered on this channel. Has it all: abuse, larceny, theft, lies, deception, fraud, taking advantage of someone that is so vulnerable. How could you live with yourself? At this point in the year 1999, this is the last time anyone has seen Margaret alive, and at this point she's 19 years old. Nobody knows for sure what has happened to her. Margaret died from neglect. Others are saying it's from physical and mental abuse. However, this chilling detail is what kept me up at night. Margaret's body was never found. Her remains were never found. Also, the couple's house in Seacroft was absolutely disgusting. It's literally like the house of horrors. It was filled with clutter and rubbish. It was decaying. It was disgusting from the inside and out. The front yard was filled with rubbish. The house was infested with pests and rats. And I don't know how they all lived in that condition. It was inhabitable. In 2017, friends and family really realized, oh, Margaret is missing. And the police finally decided to open an investigation. The police started questioning Edward and Avril, and their excuses and their story was absolutely ridiculous. At one point, they said that Margaret ran away from home. The other story was that she became a major drug lord and she's a drug dealer that is traveling around Europe. The third story is that she decided to run away with a traveling community and she's just living outdoors and she's traveling from place to place. And she's living a very happy and independent life out there. So before long, the police had enough of all of these stories that the couple kept saying, because it's all, fluff. It was all lies. It wasn't true, because based on her disabilities, Margaret wasn't able to do any of that. So the couple was finally arrested in 2018. And the couple appeared in the High Court in Glasgow, and they were both charged with murder. And the prosecution believed that Margaret was killed between December 18th, 1999 to the 5th of January in the year 2000. Her exact cause of death is unknown because we don't have a body. Like I said before, the couple stole over £182,000 for the last 17 years. So they are charged with fraud as well. They stole all that money from Margaret. It is so depraved. This reminds me of the case that I covered not too long ago, Virginia McCulloch. She also stole money from her vulnerable parents. So the jury deliberated, and despite not knowing exactly how Margaret died, they found the couple guilty of murder. The couple were both sentenced to a minimum of 14 years, and the court has agreed that they are a depraved couple that intentionally harmed a vulnerable person. The judge condemned their cruel actions. The case of Margaret Fleming is just a reminder of how we need to take care of people that are vulnerable. And there are people out there that will exploit that vulnerability, It's something I could never understand. She didn't stand a chance. It leaves us with more questions than answers. Due to the fact that this crime happened many years ago, Edward did die in prison at the age of 82 from natural causes, and so did Avril. They died, I think, last year in 2023, and we will truly never really know what has happened to Margaret that night and what these monsters have done to her. I just don't understand how they could get away with something like this. I mean, Margaret had her own social worker. Why didn't they do what they're supposed to do? And do frequent checks, Couldn't they see on Margaret's bank account there was suspicious activity going on? I have a lot of questions, I really do. But this is truly evil, and I have no words. Anyways, if you've reached the end of this video, I do appreciate you and hanging out with me. And if you have any cases that you would like me to cover, do leave them in the comment section down below. Till then, stay safe, stay hydrated, and I will see you guys again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.